whatnot. Yes. What exactly is happening here? Okay, here we go. I don't know what that means. Well, folks, right now at 12:06, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Well, it's obviously, there's one huge story today, and we're obviously going to cover it and talk about it and bring you the latest right now at 12:06. It is a historic day. It's not for the right reasons, but it is definitely a historic day with the situation that's happening right now as we speak in Lower Manhattan. This is the Noon Report Live. Had a minor glitch there with good afternoon to everybody tuning in. Part of our live stream on Facebook. There we are. There's Michelle. There's Joseph. Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you for the stars in advance. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, hey, why not on this Tuesday? Remember, Lawn Doctor. Why not your best lawn ever guaranteed? Now, we're going to continue our partnership with Lawn Doctor, which, I've been talking about them for quite some time. And the people there, they're just fantastic. Where it really took off was many of you might remember that, especially last June, I was certainly doing a lot with Newsmax. And I was using my backyard as a backdrop. And, people, it's not so much that people were commenting on what I was saying, but more of, wow, your grass, your lawn looks fantastic. And right now, if you contact Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island, take advantage of their premium 8-service program, crabgrass control. This is early spring, time release fertilizer, broadleaf weed control, professional blend of high calcium lime. Folks, it makes a huge difference. Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island, and it's so simple. Now I'm going to give you the phone number, but Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island, George, they want to be your lawn care company, and they have a very user-friendly website, and it's not hard to remember, lawndoctor.com, and you just type in your zip code, and then boom, you're in business. They call you before they come out, but it makes a huge difference, especially you want the 8 program. 401-392-1025 is the phone number, but it's very easy to just go online. But you want the Lawn Doctor Premium 8-service program, where they literally come out to your home 8 times, whether it's now early spring, spring lime, late spring, summer, grub prevention, early fall, and then late fall. Lawn Doctor of Rhode Island, your best lawn ever guaranteed. It's Lawn Doctor, 401-392-1025. But I strongly encourage you to visit their website, which is very user-friendly, which is lawndoctor.com. Now, we obviously are going to talk about the story. It's really the international story. There's no day like today. There's never been a day like today. And it has to do with what's going on with President Trump in Manhattan, where he's going to be in court sometime after 2 o'clock. So we're going to give you the latest on that. But I do want to do follow-up now on this situation with this PC player that is in court, or has been in court. And So there's definitely been, let's see, I want to just go through. Now, obviously, since I'm not there, I'm going to rely on some of the other reporters. He was in court this morning. Judge grants $25,000 bail with surety, no contact order with the ex girlfriend, Miss Wynett. Waiver of extradition. He can only go to Rhode Island or Georgia. He cannot possess any firearms. And then he had to hand over his passport if he has one. So now that's one reporter, and I notice now they are. Okay, here we go. Now, and this is interesting, and you can read into this whatever you want. People may, excuse me, read some different things into this. Let me go through some of this. The state has withdrawn its objection to bail. The complaining witness has become uncooperative, says the prosecutor. Boy, there's a surprise. So, um, and his legal team and the school were, well, I'll just say his legal team, but they and the program were definitely in overdrive yesterday. So, the state has withdrawn its objection, no contact order with the victim, must also surrender his passport, possess no firearms, of which we're going to wait to see. I certainly hope that that he is asked about, or at least his attorney. I don't think he's maybe going to say anything, but it would be certainly curious to hear if he just answers the simple question where you have the ex-girlfriend, the 33-year-old. Okay, let me see this. Now we have a new attorney on the scene. Now free, no contact order with the woman. Okay, so notice once again, I think this is interesting. We don't have Bill Lynch speaking out. We have Pamela Chin. She works with Maria Deaton. These were people that worked with former Attorney General Patrick Lynch, who is now in private practice as a lobbyist. Lynch and Pine. I want to once again point out there is nothing wrong. Every defendant certainly has the right to be defended. Not saying that. But it is curious that once again, Bill Lynch, who still appears on behalf of the Democrat Party, and certainly not shy about being aggressive in speaking out, during election season on different Democrat causes, so to speak. And I think it's interesting that he's very active, and yesterday was speaking, and there is in court again with reporters. But then when it comes time to address the media, he goes into a lesser role, to put it mildly. So, and again, I'm not inferring that the PC player doesn't have the right to be defended. I just find it a little curious that that for whatever reason they don't seem to be he doesn't seem to be then speaking out about it. But I want to hear this other attorney who is speaking out outside. And again, I'm not inferring in any way that someone doesn't have a right to be represented and so forth. Here it is. Attorney Pamela Chin meets with reporters outside of court. So I noticed a couple. Let me just hear some of this. Oh, it's low.
What's your reaction to the fact that prosecutors said they're going to still pursue prosecution and go to a grand jury in this case?
Oh, wow. It's really low volume. All right. Hopefully the television will have more. This is just one of the reporters that's on.
A little bit after court yesterday, the woman spoke to the judge. Is that how we got here today?
So I wasn't present for that court hearing,
Huh.
and I'm actually standing in for Maria Deaton, my friend. But that is a big part of that, because when a complaining witness comes into court and makes statements to a judge she indicated that she doesn't recall what she told the police.
Now she doesn't remember.
Intoxication, but I wasn't at that hearing, so it's a little bit hearsay.
Okay, now there's several things at play here. Number one, I was speaking with someone that said very, very rare that judge would then suddenly clear the schedule to meet with someone who suddenly noticed that. I think that was interesting on saying that she doesn't recall what happened, if I heard that right. And I'm not questioning Pamela Chin. She has to go off. Notice she didn't say I didn't say that, because a question was raised, and I think it's a fair one. Should the woman then be charged with filing? I'm going to have to hear some other reporters and exactly what everything. This is low. I totally get it's low volume here.
Yesterday, the woman's
This is Sheena Lasciuto. Let me see. She's the one asked a good question. Suddenly now she doesn't remember what happened. Or she doesn't remember what she told police.
A little bit after court yesterday, the woman spoke to the judge. Is that how we got here today?
So I wasn't present for that court hearing.
True.
And I'm actually standing in for Maria Deepno, my firm. But that is a big part of that, because when a complaining witness comes into court and makes statements to a judge under oath, that court's going to take those statements seriously. My understanding is she indicated that she doesn't recall what she told the police because of her level of intoxication. But I wasn't at that hearing, so.
Again, just a couple things about this, folks, quickly, and then I'm going to, unless we get better sound, I will then move to the Trump situation. But a couple of things about this. So that's interesting. Now they're saying that. By the way, I'm going to totally go off course here because I did just want to jump in. This is breaking. The Patriots have shopped Mac Jones to multiple teams this offseason. All right. The complaining witness has become uncooperative. Alan Breed's bail set at $25,000. The ex-girlfriend, who I want to see if I don't know if now is the time that I could try to find it, but she is apparently from California. Was in court, which is interesting. I don't know why the other reporters aren't talking to her. I would have at least given the opportunity. Maybe she wants to say something. But a couple of things now about this situation with the PC player. Boy, does this reek of a little bit of the Rhode Island play. But I want to back up for a moment. Because now various people are starting to backpedal a little bit. Yesterday, there was an effort with the media, with people with his camp, this player, and also a little bit of the school, that they were trying to portray this in a way of, and you see this. Well, they didn't even find the gun. How did they arrest him on these charges? They didn't find the gun. Now, as I wrote about on depetro.com, there was an instance to almost deflect that the police maybe overreacted in this whole thing. And, the way it was described to me from someone that was talking to someone at the college, that there's this ongoing issue between some of the students and the police and the off-campus parties, and, kind of going on and on a little bit in that direction that, how do you arrest the guy? And there wasn't even a weapon there. And now, just to put it in context, what are the police supposed to do? They get the call. They have to follow up with it. Plus, you have PC security that's involved. If following along with the people saying how do you can see the comments online. How do you arrest him? They didn't even find the weapon. Well, maybe he was. I'm just talking, in theory, hiding the weapon. And then if you let that individual go and you don't detain him, what would then happen to police? What if, in fact, okay, they don't lock him up, and then he goes and harms her in some way? Now the police are really in trouble. So the school yesterday, and especially behind the scenes, the legal element defending Alan Breen, were really pushing back that, well, she didn't lie, but she was intoxicated and she doesn't remember. Now, law enforcement, they deal with people who are intoxicated. And I've heard he wasn't exactly in tip-top shape at 5:30, 5, whatever the hell, this was early Saturday morning. So they do take that into account. You notice, now I'll have to wait and see if anyone asks the question, but they're they're not denying that he has access to a firearm or has a firearm. But if you read the way he was acting with the police, he was certainly not exactly the most cooperative. He had been in her apartment. He did, in fact, smash the flowers. Whatever this scenario was. So, but just to be really clear, the police had no choice. There are certain situations, and I want to be clear about that, regardless of what police department. This isn't a Providence Police Department thing. This is a law enforcement. They respond, boom, has to go in that way. And many times, for those of you who've seen when we've been with Cranston PD Live, there are certain boxes when they're checked, immediately there's no room for discretion here. So this was a domestic, they have to follow, and that's what it was. So to say or infer that police overreacted, number one, I don't believe the police don't have it out for any of the PC fires. That's number one. Number two, no, I don't believe the police even Providence Police wanted to be dealing with this. This was, you have to, some of this has to go back and should go back on the individual and the college itself. You have a player, for whatever reason, has a, quote, 33-year-old girlfriend from California, who it's my understanding is employed at one of the local gentleman establishments. And also, she claims she was with him when he purchased a firearm. I want to be really clear. None of that is illegal. Second Amendment, yeah, of course. But then you have to step back. Is that truly the type of individual that the school wants representing them? And the more you have individuals involved with this type of behavior. So a player for PC, he's got the older girlfriend with her job and so forth, living off campus. You just wonder, where is this going? Is this really? Look at UConn last night. That's a program doesn't seem to have those types of distractions and possibilities, or problems, I should say, problems, not possibilities. So now it sounds like they've achieved what they wanted, which was he's out and she is recanted, and then it becomes very difficult for the prosecutors to move forward with the case. Now, this is something law enforcement run into. I am once again, and I don't know because I haven't seen all the audio because this was just happening. I don't understand why the media, unless it is an agreement off the record with attorney Bill Lynch, like, don't use my name. I'm going to give you this and just don't report that I'm even out. Like, I'm not here. I'm at the courthouse. I'm not here at the courthouse. I'll give you this. I mean, I know there were a lot of off-the-record conversations going on yesterday, and I did speak with someone who's a big PC booster, supporter, does the golf tournaments, does, I think, some of the trips, certainly a season ticket holder. I mean, that goes without saying, but definitely was saying, oh my God, this is a big nothing. You can see them posting things. This is a nothing burger. Excuse me. A PC player, they are the professional franchise around here. They are. They draw successfully and sell out the AMP, close to 13,000 strong. So don't try to diminish the program, number one. Number two, this is a big nothing. It's a disagreement, boyfriend-girlfriend stuff. Time out. As I said yesterday, the element that changes the dynamic there is the weapon. The weapon is what changes the dynamic. And this whole business of this is all about nothing, and this is a big as someone was saying to me, this is a nothing burger. I'll just ask this, when was the last time that a member of the Providence College team was detained in custody over the course of the weekend, just being released today, Tuesday, on a weapons charge? I can't recall that's ever happened. So I don't buy this is all a big nothing. The allegation that someone had a weapon, pointed a weapon, was involved with these other things enough where then they were put in custody and detained by police. Don't tell me you're going to fail trying to tell me that this, as one person tried to say, this is a big, and I hate that expression anyway, but this is a big nothing burger. Well, not exactly. That's number one. Now, number two, once again, I don't understand. Bill Lynch champions women's causes. He's on television going after the Republicans. He's on television locally bashing the Republicans, bashing Trump. But, believe women, believe victims, whole attitude. He appears on television in the role of speaking on behalf of the Rhode Island Democrat Party. And there he is in court defending someone on a domestic violence incident where the accused allegedly produced a weapon. What happened to believe women? What happened? Oh, no. See, what happened was, and this is Lynch, I'm not saying she lied. I'm saying she was so intoxicated she doesn't remember what she said. Well, police deal with a number of people that are intoxicated. Or is it possible she remembers exactly what she said? And is it possible now that certain people got to this witness and either made promises or do the whole, you're going to destroy his career, you're going to destroy his life, there's not going to be any money if he can't make any money. And then what do most people, a lot of times, all right, in that case, forget it. I'm going to drop it, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. So now, this is early April. The new coach, they don't have to make a decision on this. Who knows now the trail of where this is going to go, this particular court case. Excuse me. And it could get resolved, God bless me, and then fade. And when it's midnight madness and there's the PC fires, and then they take to the court. And then, the whole thing is suddenly like, what are you talking about? Oh, no, that was a mistake, and da-da-da. So here's the way I see this. Someone who's another reporter sent to me, boy, the police and the attorney general look really bad here. This was yesterday. Now, my response is, well, I think the player, and specifically the PC program, looks really bad here. What is their policy on firearms? Someone posted, Second Amendment, he said, all right, I get. He is, as an American, but are they allowed to have firearms in the dorms? Are they allowed to carry, what is the PC policy for students carrying a handgun on campus? Is there a policy for that? What is the policy on something like that? Are there other players that have them? Are they traveling with them? So I fully understand both the PC program and also the Allen Breed team, meaning, I don't mean the basketball team, but the supporters, the people supporting him, they want to deflect. It's on her. She didn't know what she was saying. She was so drunk she doesn't remember. This is a big nothing. On again, off again girlfriend. Police maybe jump the gun. Police want to make I have no, why would the police want to make the team look bad? I mean, none of this fits. I'm not saying I believe any of it, by the way. I don't. I think this is a situation that Providence police got dragged into. They can't make it seem as though he's getting special treatment, right? No one wants that. So what were they to do, right? They had a witness. she made a statement. They have to follow protocol. Suddenly that is put into place. Now you just get all the Rhode Island machinations coming in. Suddenly you enter a certain attorney, you have a judge from Pawtucket. Suddenly the judge says, I need to speak to the witness by Friday. Suddenly he's meeting with the witness that afternoon. I get the whole thing. I'm not saying this type of incident should, no one's talking about like closing down the program. But I would disagree and take issue with people who try to say it's a big nothing. So what? Nothing to see here. Who cares? It's a he said, she said. Not exactly. And I'm just going to finish it with this. I believe, as I said, the handgun changes the dynamic. The handgun changes the dynamic. Someone who claimed, I know the handgun he pulled on me. It was a tan Glock, and Glocks do come in that color. And I was with him when he bought it in Georgia. So I know the gun. And he pulled it on me and put it up to me. So, again, I want to remind people our system is presumed innocent, and then it has to be proven guilty or not guilty. It's not they were found innocent. It means you're found not guilty, which then things can be withdrawn. And there are examples of that. And many times it doesn't mean police don't believe the person. That's exactly what happened. Many times police have a lot of evidence and they can't fully, and the Attorney General's office can't fully tie it there, and they know something's not going to hold up. It doesn't mean they don't think it happened and they don't believe that it did happen. It just means when circumstances change, they can no longer prove that something happened. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, now, on this nice sunny Tuesday, we're going to get to the Trump situation. Well, if you would like to see rapid, aggressive weight loss that lasts a lifetime, this is your chance to contact Unique Health. Target that stubborn fat, extreme weight loss, and you'll notice an increase in your metabolism and energy. Watch those pounds fall off. As Sandra says, 20 pounds in 10 days. 20 pounds in 10 days. It's not a diet change, it's a lifestyle change. There's no benefit to being obese. There's no benefit to carrying 50, 60 extra pounds. Call Unique, because everyone's health is unique. Unique Health today, 401-269-9155. Schedule, take advantage. Free seminar, sustainable weight loss, Unique Health. They're right in Warwick, and this is no obligation. You're just going to take advantage of the free seminar. See if this works for you. 401-269-9155. On this Tuesday of Holy Week, just ask yourself this question. Would you like to lose 25 pounds or more? Would you like to lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds, higher? When you start going above that, I know some people feel, well, I still have some of the COVID weight. Or people that, you put on a little weight in the wintertime. Okay, at what point do you start taking it off? At what point do you start really going and carrying your healthy weight? Contact Sandra, 401-269-9155. Now, you're driving along right now, and I don't understand I recognize it may not be easy to write down the number, 401-269-9155. If you visit their Facebook page or mine, because I share their page, Unique Health, their unique approach, they're right in Warwick. Just think of your health and your unique health. Everyone's health is unique to themselves. Unique Health, 401-269-9155. So, it's all part of it. Let me just see. So I do think that's a little bit of what took place with the PC thing. Little bit of the Rhode Island shuffle, as Alan Dershowitz had talked about and made famous in the book. His dealing with the Von Bulow trial, Rhode Island has its reputation for a reason in our court system, and many times, as Dershowitz laid out, you have to find the right attorney, and then you have to, then they have a private thing with the judge, um, and then it all goes from there. I am, and I also want. I've known Bill Lynch for over 20 years. I used to call him the embattled chairman. I wish him no ill will. He is a highly likable guy. Um, his success as an attorney, I remember when he ran for Congress in 2010, and we learned he released his tax returns. Just a successful attorney he is. I don't fault him in any way, but you just start to wonder a little bit about the justice system, and if there's people that find a way to manipulate it, and then they're trying to say there's buyer's remorse, and she's walking back a lot of the allegations, and blah, blah, blah. And then the big question is, well, I don't want to say, I don't think anything's going to be decided today, this week. They have plenty of time to get a handle on this. But I don't think, I, I still think there's some interesting questions of when these players come into town, who's accompanying them. And I think the weapon policy in question is, I think that's a fair question. I'm waiting to see whether or not, if that's going to be answered. I'm actually waiting to see if it's going to be asked. If in fact that is even going to be asked by the college. I understood and understand the role that PC Friars and the basketball team have in this town, and it's very, it's good for the state. It's good for certainly the city, and especially when the program is doing well, and it's terrific how it's, kind of lights up downtown. I get all of that, but at the same token, maybe, that's a pretty desirable position he has, being on a Big East team. But there's a number of players who wouldn't mind having that. I think maybe it's possible that the school needs to clarify what their policy is. And I'm not saying who they date, you don't want them associating criminals, gamblers, things like that. But I think the biggest takeaway here is the weapons thing. I think that needs to be addressed. And I'm going to wait to see if, let's see if anyone from the media actually asks about that, because it certainly seemed to be a focal point in court this morning. He cannot possess any firearms. So does he possess a firearm? And if he does possess a firearm, here's a really simple question. If the firearm is not in his dorm room, then where is it? Is it back in Georgia? Where's his firearm? If in fact, well, he can't possess any. Again, I wasn't there, so it certainly doesn't answer the question of, does he have one? Does he need one? Maybe they feel that living in Providence, I'll be the first one. Providence at times can be a little bit of a dangerous situation. Maybe he felt the need to carry a firearm. It's possible. I wouldn't, as someone that covers the city a lot, I certainly wouldn't fault him for that. I'm just wondering what the college's policy. All right, I'm going to talk about the Trump stuff in just a moment. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, on this nice warm day, and as spring is here, it's brought to you by Falcon Pest Services. Call them today, 401-739-1322. 401-739-1322. Residential or commercial, it's Falcon Pest Services. Now, whether it's your home or your business, Falcon offers pest control services for termites, bed bugs, ants, roaches, mice, rats, mosquitoes, many other pests. One time treatment. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's yearly or quarterly. Contact Falcon Pest Services today at 401 739 1322. You can also find them on Facebook, and then their website is falconpestservice.com. If you're a business or a homeowner, maybe it's for your office building, maybe it's for your restaurant, whatever. Those types of anyone that, if you're somewhere and suddenly there are roaches or termites or especially ants or worse, it's not something you want in your home or business. Contact Falcon today, 401 739 1322. Well, folks, visit the website, depetro.com. We have original stories up. We have original video up. We also have the shop. You can support the show by buying different merchandise. We also have information on me. You also have Providence College blames police for the player arrested. They were yesterday. They're backtracking, but they spent yesterday, certain people, quote, off the record, trying to infer that police kind of jumped the gun on the whole thing. And I don't think that that is, in fact, the case. I know that is, not, in fact, not the case. So, so you can read all about that. And remember, it's brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or drinks in the lounge, they're waiting for you. And they only have a few slots open for brunch at the Coesit Inn coming up this Sunday, Easter brunch, the Coesit Inn. And that's a great spot to enjoy your Easter, Easter brunch or breakfast or dinner or what have you. Now, let's go to the matter at hand. Now, MTG was in New York. It seemed like a full circus. Right now, special treatment. Trump to be spared handcuffs and mugshot. He doesn't need a mugshot. We know what he looks like. He doesn't need handcuffs. He's traveling with the Secret Service. White House or jail? I now start to think that this emboldens him. I do. So this is Drudgery. Surrender spectacle. Indictment to be revealed. 34 felony counts. Now, we will talk with our legal analyst, attorney Tim Dodd, but if you have followed any of the coverage, when they say like 34, if, as we have, just as an example, other cases that I have covered, if they feel that someone committed mail fraud and it was, sending bogus checks through the mail, they count each check as a mail fraud count. So this 34 felony counts, it could all be, in essence, a number of them could all be the same thing, and then they're just adding on to that. I think people could understand that. And then I think what's also going to be interesting is this Bragg press conference at 4 o'clock. Some of the other headlines. Trump, Trump, Trump. TV turns to old habits. True. Trial could be televised under a new bill. It should be. Covering the courthouse circus. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, she was not there long. She was not there long, and then she had to leave. It is certainly a circus atmosphere outside the courthouse, and I think there's some key things. Number one, I think less what he's going to say tonight, because I think what he's going to say tonight from Mar-a-Lago at 8:15, meaning President Trump, I can imagine it's going to be prepared remarks. I would think that his legal team are going to look it over and he'll give some kind of remarks. I don't think it's going to be a free-flowing press conference. I like listening to President Trump speak when he is just letting it roll, when it's just open-ended, like rolling train of thought. I don't think that's what it's going to be. As far as Bragg, we're going to have to see, number one, we are going to learn some things today at 12:45. We're going to learn exactly what they're charging him with, and then the DA, the Bragg press conference at 4 o'clock. That press conference to me is more interesting than whatever President Trump is going to say tonight from Mar-a-Lago. But I also want to remind people. I know I was flipping around this morning, like a lot of people. And if you do flip around, I get there's some people, they never watch CNN. They never will flip to MSNBC. I agree. There's many times it's very challenging. I find MSNBC far more biased than CNN. But that said, but even the legal analysts I saw this morning in the 8 o'clock hour on Morning Joe, even they were talking about the difficulty with this case. And it can't be ignored that this guy, Bragg, ran on. I know there are some people, they want to think the full machinations of the New World Order, and this guy's taking orders from Bill Gates and from Fauci and from Soros and Obama. I don't share that belief or opinion, whatever people want to call it. I think that this is an individual, and the people certainly with his office, and he did run on it. Unless they produce some new evidence, we're going to have to wait and see. But I think this is them just moving on their own. But if President Trump can defeat this, which I think he will, because it does seem to be a flimsy case, if that. And we haven't heard it yet, granted. But many of the players involved here are just, I find to be unlikable. Michael Cohen's at the top of the list. That guy. Who at one point said he'd take a bullet for President Trump. Well, we saw how that went. The other one, I get that he's trying to do the right thing. And he is part of Team Trump. But I don't think Joe Tacopina serves him that well. I don't think so. I'm sure it's not easy. And who knows? Is he even being paid? Or is the president saying, listen, we're not paying you, but you can go on TV as much as you want? So Tacopina is almost being compensated in TV appearances because he's everywhere. He doesn't seem to turn anyone down. He was even on like the Al Sharpton show. I didn't even know he still had a show on MSNBC. I'd like to think there were more seasoned attorneys that could represent the president, but it's kind of like the prom. You got to dance with who you went with. Hey, look, things are looking up. At least it's not Sidney Powell or Rudy Giuliani, right? I mean, at least I'll take Joe Tacopina over Sid Powell, Lin Wood, Jenna Ellis, and Rudy Giuliani any day, as a matter of fact. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, and it's brought to you by AtMed Urgent Care. Now remember, the next time you have an emergency, AtMed Urgent Care, 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston. It's right in the Atwood Medical Center. And also 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich. AtMed Urgent Care, 2 locations, and it's very simple. If you want to go to a hospital emergency room where you have to wait a long time, and there's different challenges and downsides to the, quote, traditional hospital emergency room, then you do that. But a lot of people are discovering a place like AtMed Urgent Care, which is cost-efficient healthcare alternative to hospital-based emergencies, especially if you're in a vehicle accident or for immunizations or work-related injuries. AtMed Urgent Care, 2 locations, Atwood Medical Center, Johnston. They have doctors and nurses open 7 days a week, and 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich, AtMed Urgent Care. Now, a story that has fallen through a little bit through the cracks. And folks, and again, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Can always listen online at the website, which is depetro.com. I just want to touch on a couple of political things. Number one, Aaron Gukian, who ran a great race for lieutenant governor. He won day of voting against Sabina Matos. He did. He beat her. That's who Rhode Islanders wanted to be the lieutenant governor. Republican, but he announced he's not running in this CD1 race to replace David Cicilline. I think that's a good decision. Aaron does not live in the district. Some of the places where he got a lot of support, they would not be able to vote for him. I think this is a tough race because so many votes come out of Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls. And, there was talk over the weekend about my former colleague, former Attorney General Arlene Violet, kicking the tires on a little bit. Some people are passing on it, dropping out. Others seem to be taking a look at it. But what I don't understand is the Rhode Island Republican Party and also both Senate Majority Leader Jessica De La Cruz, Senate Minority Leader, and also House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale. Guys, the Wall Street Journal published an op-ed where their full bullseye was on Governor McKee. And as Ted Nesi put out, it was the number one read story, op-ed, yesterday on the Wall Street Journal website. And it had to do with many of these Democrat governors that want these, they call them Biden bailouts. And the first example they used was Governor McKee and this ludicrous element of this Pawtucket soccer stadium. $60 million in state tax credits. They don't have the investors. 10,500 seat stadium in a city with a population of 75,000. And basically laid it out that McKee put this out, no bid to the unions, just to buy votes. I don't understand. I believe years ago, the Rhode Island Republican Party, or at least someone up on Smith Hill, would have put out a press release that the media was so anxious to go with about Governor McKee being called out by the Wall Street Journal, and is almost like the poster boy of calling out the Fed and how ridiculous it is, what an unnecessary project it is. As I've said, I think the soccer stadium, the people against this soccer stadium, this $150 million complete waste, I believe it's bipartisan. People are against it. If this thing went on the ballot where we got a chance to vote on it, I'm telling you, I think this thing loses 80-20. And the only 20% are all the state workers and unions that look to make a fortune off this whole thing. But I don't understand the Rhode Island Republican Party not. This is the Wall Street Journal we're talking about. They don't. When's the last time Governor McKee appeared in the Wall Street Journal? I don't think he appears in the Wall Street Journal a lot. How do you not follow up on that? That even the Wall Street Journal called it for what it is, which is McKee wants a Biden bailout. And this foolishness of him attacking the Fed. Completely. This is not needed. There's no market for it. Now they're talking about and these people that following and believe, well, where are the season ticket holders going to go? And now they may play in East Providence. There's no stadium. The real investigation, as I mentioned, should be when they were at the Commerce Board meeting last July. Why did this Fortuitous Partners, why did he tell board members and the media and everyone else that all his investors were lined up and ready to go? Because at the time, he wouldn't name them. They're supposed to come up with $80 million. They don't have the $80 million. There should be an investigation into that. There are allegations that it was Governor McKee that told that guy to say he had everything lined up like it was turnkey, ready to go. In August, they did the whole groundbreaking thing, as ridiculous as it was. But I don't understand exactly what is the priority up at the Rhode Island State House. And even House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale, who I like and respect. But so you put out a press release about, whatever that controversy was about someone asking someone else, are you a pedophile? All right, I get that. That was so important to put out a press release on that. But this is like real money. This is like The Rhode Island Republican Party should be the face of the opposition of this stupid, unnecessary, unaffordable soccer stadium. Silence. Silence on it. I don't get it. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, now on this beautiful Tuesday, and it is, look at the blue sky. Spring is here, and it's brought to you by Limitless Outdoors. I'll bet you'd like to have a room that you could enjoy yourself, maybe add on. It's very difficult to add on to an existing house. You got to do roof line, you got to get proper contractor, zoning, the cost, construction costs are going up. Why not instead just have Limitless Outdoors design for you a outside space that you can enjoy? Okay, maybe you can't enjoy it January, February, March, but what about April through November? Limitless Outdoors, their slogan, dream, build, enjoy. They specialize in patios. Maybe you have a patio. Why not really have a patio? Walkways, steps, outdoor kitchens, landscape lighting, retaining walls, lawn installations. Also, excavation. They can update your indoor fireplace. How about an outdoor fireplace? A friend of mine, he has an outdoor fireplace. They do brick oven pizza. They can do a fire pit for you. People are saying we have an outdoor kitchen, and people are spending more time outside. It's enjoyable. You get have falcon pests so there's no bugs. People have fans and heating lamps, and you have a full outdoor space. Limitless Outdoors. Call them today. They're based in Smithfield, 401-580-1852. Free quote, 401-580-1852. Limitless Outdoors. Dream, build, enjoy. The base in Smithfield. Look for them online at limitlessoutdoorsri.com. All right, so next hour, this is all building towards President Trump will be in court coming up at 2:15. Now, cameras, I don't believe are going to be allowed in the courtroom. I think they're going to have one still photographer. So, but it'll be the spectacle of him arriving at the courthouse, the picture, the picture of him. I think they're going to allow one still photographer of photos of him inside. I'm also seeing now, the state withdrew its objection to bail after prosecutors say the complaining witness has become uncooperative. And in that photo, right to his right, is the spokesperson for the Democrat Party, Bill Lynch. Bail set $25,000, suspended PC basketball player. I just can't get over, folks, the fact that the hypocrisy of, this whole business that the Democrat Party spokesperson, how many victims recant out of fear of the perpetrator? How many times are there mostly women that drop the charges because then they feel bad, or they're afraid of the individual, or people are threatening that individual? Now, I understand it's a court of law. He is entitled to a fair hearing. He's entitled to have an attorney of his choice and everything else. But why is it like the Democrat Party, they're comfortable? There's plenty of attorneys that could have represented him. That's Bill Lynch standing there. And the police don't have a pretty good idea, I think, of what happened here. Come on. Suddenly now, she doesn't remember what she said. This thing. But here's my point. At least there's no microphone in front of Bill Lynch. Isn't it a little hypocritical when you're always speaking out on behalf of the Democrat Party, and then something like this happens, and this is domestic violence with a gun involved? Wow. All right, next hour, radio only. It's the big buildup to President Trump in court this afternoon. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. We will be doing Facebook Live later. Folks, it's John DePetro on this Monday. Another full hour to go. AM 1380, 99.9 FM, or you can listen online at the website, depetro.com. We're back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.